Welcome everybody to another episode of Coffee with ADHD Experts. This innovative series brings together some of the most eminent experts in ADHD and mental health in the world. We know that demands on mental health services are rising. We know that this increase can never be met by professionals alone. So the question is, how do we think differently about mental health? What do we have to change? You are welcome to join us to enjoy this collective experience on ADHD across the lifespan. We will be sharing 3 short questions that can enhance our purpose as advocates and let other mental health professionals have the chance to listen to their experience. Let me introduce you to Dr. Norma Echavarria. She's a medical doctor, adult psychiatrist. She's the president of the ADHD chapter in Argentina, an American Psychiatry and International Fellow, and the World ADHD Federation, and also she's an American Hispanic Psychiatry Association member. And myself, I'm Eleonora Giusti, I'm PhD, I'm a clinical psychologist and vice president of ADHD chapter in Argentina.
Okay, so for everybody, we have the pleasure here to be with Dr. Ned Hallowell, who is an MD, is a board-certified child and adult psychiatrist and world authority on ADHD. He's a graduate of Harvard College and Tulane Medical School and was a Harvard Medical School faculty member for 21 years. He is the founder of the Hallowell ADHD Centers in Boston, Metro West, New York City, San Francisco, Palo Alto, and Seattle. He has spent the past 4 decades helping thousands of adults and children live happy and productive lives through his strength-based approach to neurodiversity, and has ADHD and dyslexia himself. Dr. Hallowell is a New York Times best-selling author and has written 20 books on multiple psychological topics. The groundbreaking Distraction series, which began with Driven to Distraction, co-authored with Dr. John Ratey in 1994, sparked a revolution in understanding of ADHD. As the host of the twice-weekly Distraction podcast, Dr. Hallowell explores with guests how to better connect with others and how each of us can implement strategies that can turn modern problem into newfound strength. He's also a sought-after international speaker and has presented to thousands of topics, including the strengths of ADHD, strategies, and handling fast-paced life, parenting, and a range of other pertinent family and health issues. Dr. Hallowell has been featured on 2020, 60 Minutes, Oprah, PBS, CNN, The Today Show, Deadline, Good Morning America, so many things for us to tell you. And he's a regular columnist or Attitude magazine. Dr. Hallowell lives in Boston area with his wife, Sue, and they have 3 children, Lucy, Jack, and Tucker. So let's welcome, with a lot of pleasure, Dr. Ned Hallowell.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be with you.
Thank you, Dr. Hallowell. Well, first question is about, as a researcher, a doctor, and a writer, and being one of the main references in this field, what has led you to work with the ADHD population? And in your opinion, how did your interventions make a difference?
Sure. I have ADHD myself, and I discovered that in 1981. So I had a natural interest in it. And I also realized that the medical model left out all the good parts. So I said, I want to expand it. And that's what I've been doing since 1981. I think my books have made a huge difference. It really brought knowledge of this condition, particularly the strength-based, saying there's a positive side to all of this. So people don't think they have a deficit disorder, but instead they have a trait, which if you manage it properly can be a tremendous asset in your life. If you don't, it can ruin your life. So I think I've had a big hand, both John Ratey and I have had a big hand in reframing how people look at this condition and trying to get it out of the deficit disorder model and more into the trait model, the idea being that it can be a positive, it can be a negative, and our job is to maximize the positive and minimize
Dr. Ned, I would like to ask you, what was the moment when you thought it's time for us to write? Like the first time you thought we have to do something for this? And do you remember
Well,
that
you know,
moment?
I'm a writer. I wanted to be a writer before I wanted to be a doctor. You know, I majored in English, and I've been writing ever since I was literally in grade school. So I always had an idea of being a book, and then after we'd seen so many cases and realized we had a whole new point of view, I wrote a proposal for Driven to Distraction, and then it came out. It
That's
sold over
amazing.
2 million copies, which is, we never thought that would happen.
How did you manage your writing besides your
Dyslexia.
ADHD?
Well, I'm a writer. I like to write, you know, so I make time for it.
Motivation.
Yeah.
You know, Ned, there is this little story. I have 5 kids myself, and a very ADHD boy that was 10 years old when I realized he had ADHD.
Yeah.
But I had another, my eldest, she's a doctor, she's a psychiatrist, and she lives in New York right now. But one day, 2 a.m. in the morning, she knocked my door and she read the whole Driven to Distraction book and said, Mom, I also have this. And you didn't realize because she was not hyper. So, but that is a very important thing to share. Sometimes you discover.
Well, and that's often true of girls, that they,
yes.
yeah.
So it was part of a story for Ned. So here we are. We go with the second question.
What have you achieved getting actively involved in this field? And did you find any cultural, social, or gender or age barriers on that path?
Well, I didn't have any of those barriers because I'm a white male, you know, and we don't have barriers. Had I been a woman, it would have been much more difficult. And had I been of color, it would have been more difficult, I'm sure. But since I am a white male, unfortunately, nothing I can do about that. I had it easy in terms of gender, race, cultural. And, you know, I was very well educated, so I didn't have those kind of barriers either. So I was lucky, you know, I thank God. But I've tried to take that into account. And what was the first part of the question, or the second part?
What did you achieve?
My biggest goal in life has always been to create a family and give my children the happy childhood that I did not have. And we've achieved that. Our kids are now 31, 28, and 25. But my second biggest goal was to have a major impact on the field of mental health because my dad had bipolar disorder and was misdiagnosed at first and suffered because of that. And so I wanted to have a major impact. And I think I can say I've done that. I think the books that John and I have written have really brought a very important common condition to public awareness, and the whole strength-based approach is getting rid of the stigma that has surrounded it for way too long. So I think in my personal life, I've achieved my greatest goal, and in my professional life, I've achieved my greatest goal. So now it's all gravy.
Well, that's amazing.
We may say you are a resilient adult because all of your background.
Yes, yes. No, I had a very, very chaotic childhood. So, you know, I don't know if you know what the ACEs score is, but it's an indicator of childhood trauma. And if you have a score of 4 or higher, your chances of living anything like a satisfying life are very, very low. Well, my score is 8, which I should be dead at age 71. And instead, I'm thriving. I have 3 wonderful children, married for 32 years to the same wonderful woman, and working on my next book. So, you know, and I thank God, honestly. I think basically God is love. I believe deeply in God, and love is what saved me, you know, and I found it from all kinds of different people, as well as animals, as well as nature.
You were saying things I think are very important, is the importance of connection. That's also, we want to embrace our communities, be connected, network with others, help each other, but also there's the connection is really so
Yes.
important. It's not only just love and
Not
do it, but
alone. On which step from the way through your ADHD road would you say you are today? And what do you imagine the ADHD field to be like in the future?
Well, where I am today is trying to spread the word. I'm trying to educate as many people as I can. Most people still don't really understand this condition, particularly from a strength-based perspective. So that's the thrust of what I'm doing. There's a lot yet to be done. And of course, I'm still learning. I learn from my patients every day. They're my best textbook, and they teach me new tricks, new techniques. I just posted on TikTok. I'm learning new technology. I have about
I love
40 posts on TikTok. They've had over 5 million views, and so I'm trying to bring the word to people in new and creative ways. So I'm an old dog learning new tricks.
well, that's amazing, because it's like also a big part of, you will always keep yourself learning, and that's also a very important part for your brain, right? Your
Yes,
brain
exactly,
learning.
exactly.
My dad
Exactly.
is an adult with ADHD. He's going to turn 97 now.
Oh boy, oh boy.
And he plays cards every single day, and he wins and he wins, and he has a sense of humor, and it's a lot of chocolate, but sense of humor. So I said, that's what makes him so good.
Yeah,
Sense of
and
humor.
I am thrilled you're bringing this to Argentina, because Argentina is the jewel of South America. I mean,
Well,
you're the one that we look to with just tremendous hope and pride, and
we
as
want,
Venezuela's
yes,
had all their problems, Argentina is standing tall and leading the way.
we need to do something, because what we were talking with Dr. Quintero said, whatever you want to do or you don't have to do with ADHD is not do anything. It's like doing nothing is what you should really not do. Doing
Yeah,
nothing is
no,
not
exactly.
good.
And remember, the ADHD population are some of your most creative people. So, your country really needs them. And if you intervene, you can turn them into amazingly productive. I mean, in this country, we have many self-made billionaires, Nobel Prize winners, Pulitzer Prize winners who have ADHD. So, while the prison population is also full of people who have it and haven't been detected or treated. So it's very high stakes poker, and it's very much in a country's self-interest to take it seriously and reach those people who have it and give them the help that we know would turn them into productive, contributing members of the society.
For us, it's trying to spread that we can do things, lots of things, but the first is we need to learn more, that people
Yes,
suffer
exactly.
and need to be
Exactly.
open to teachers who happen to be punishing kids with just saying low grades, or not
Yes,
understanding
yes.
how an ADHD kid understands whatever the topic is, should play with it,
Yes,
right? You should
exactly.
learn playing.
Exactly.
My dad,
Absolutely.
when I was a kid, I didn't know I had ADHD till I was 36, but my dad bought like a big blackboard, those old blackboard with chalk, and he had that in a place in my house. And every time he was coming from his office at downtown, we lived far away, that was very important for me too, he would explain to me whatever the school tasks were in a fun way. So I had big rulers, and it was so good for me.
That's
So I
wonderful.
never had problems in school because my dad made it fun, right?
That's wonderful.
So
What a
if we could,
great dad. Yeah.
if we can share this with teachers, make classes fun, motivate your kids, because learning is motivation. It's not just input information.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be a great way of helping kids.
Absolutely.
So, Ned, it's a pleasure. I would
Thank
like,
you.
or Eleonora too, what would be the message? We are really so enthusiastic about all this Hispanic community, and what would be the message for all this?
Embrace ADHD. It's a great thing to have. I wouldn't trade mine for the world. Don't be afraid of it. Learn it. It can be your turbocharge. I say you've got a Ferrari engine for a brain with bicycle brakes. And as soon as you strengthen those brakes, that Ferrari will win races for you. So embrace it. Be proud of it. Your most creative people have this. So, just give them some help with their brakes, and they'll storm the future and make it bright.
So,
Ned,
thank you very, very much. We are
Thank
pleased to
you.
have you here. Your message is very positive and powerful and insightful also. So
Thank you both so much.
And thank you
for your time.
very much.
Okay, my pleasure. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.